Hi everyone, welcome to the Queen's Court. This time we've got a very special guest joining us, one half of the Reach co-owners. We've got Jason King.
Hey, morning, Jason.
Hello, good day. How are we?
We're well, thanks. And you?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you for joining us.
We thought you'd be quite topical with the Reach shows just coming up, being announced, and tickets going on sale already.
Yeah.
So how have you coped during the various lockdowns then, Jason?
Well, before I answer that, can I just say, Kirsty just said, starting this interview off, the nicest thing she's ever said to me, because she said a very special guest. And I feel like, since that's the only nice thing she's probably going to say to me this entire hour that we're talking, I just wanted to make a point to highlight that, because usually she's not very nice to me.
I've actually decided that I'm going to try and play nice today.
Depends which definition of special you mean, I suppose, isn't it, really? But, you know.
I was genuinely being nice. Don't try and start stuff.
I'm stirring already. I've only been here 2 minutes.
We started, yeah.
Yeah. I must admit, I was quite surprised when she was being nice to you then, you know, because it's not normally happening, does it, very often?
No, not usually. No.
It's like it's good cop, bad cop, but I'm usually the good cop and she's the bad cop this time.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Normally it's the other way around. It's she's the good cop and I'm the bad cop, usually. That's what everybody say anyway, but you know. So how have you been getting on with lockdowns then, Jason?
Well, personally, I'm all right. Like, I'm quite self-motivated, so it's been good for me in a way, because I had a lot of time to read, which has been nice. So I've been able to get a lot of downtime, which sounds nice, but I'm not the kind of person that can sit around for very long. You know, I'm very active and I'm very, I work my ass off. So for me, if I can't go to work and with the Reach and everything, it just drives me a little bit crazy. So it's been tough, and I know everybody's struggled in their own ways, but we're at the finish line. I really do believe we're at the finish line now. So I'm sort of just fingers across that, you know, we're there now. We've made it.
There's definitely light at the end of the tunnel, isn't there? You know, it's.
I think so. Yeah, I think
I've had both my jabs now, so.
You've done a what? Sorry.
I've had both my jabs now, so.
Oh, that's ideal. Is that because you're old, Dave?
Yeah, that's because I'm always nice to you. There's you being nice to Kirsty. Yeah, that's because I'm my mum's carer, but you know, it's you know, I was just lucky to be in the right place at the right time for me the first one, so. I haven't turned into a Bill Gates sort of robot yet, you know.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. He's not reporting everything back. I'm not reporting everything back that everybody does to Bill Gates yet, so I'm all right.
I know a couple of people were saying with these vaccinations, they were all worried, weren't they? About, I mean, you read a lot on the internet, right? There's a lot of comments going around about what these vaccinations will do to you. Yeah. I think the best we can all do is just get the jab and get on with it.
Yeah,
you know, probably what I would think.
But you being a youngster like that, you and Kirsty being youngsters, it'd be a long time for you guys to get it, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Kirsty, how old are you?
You never ask a lady her age. You should know that, being a gentleman.
I'm 29.
I don't believe it.
Hang on, let's work this out. Born in 1987.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So rude. I've done nothing to warrant this abuse.
Not yet, you haven't. But there's a lot of past. There's past discretions. No mistakes you've made.
Mistakes.
Yeah.
How much of an effect do you think the pandemic has had, not just on Reach's momentum, but also yours on a personal level?
Good question. I'll just get rid of that. On a personal, so I'm a little, I mean, I won't call myself crazy, but I'm probably wired up quite different than most people that I meet. I really am very self-motivated and very focused. So for me, the lockdown just meant, it didn't mean stop, it just meant move in different directions. So I had to find things to do, and personally, to keep me sane, really, because I know a lot of people that I don't struggle. I'm very lucky. I have to admit, right? I'll be honest. I don't suffer from depression, and I know a lot of my friends that struggle real bad and from anxiety and things. And I don't suffer from loneliness. I'm lucky because I wasn't affected like some real people real close to me were by being told stay home, save lives. I understood the message, but it's also quite a scary message to somebody that has to get out and has to be around people, or they feel trapped. So I did my best on a personal level to, you know, to stay in contact with as many people as I could that I knew probably weren't doing very well. But for me personally, I don't want to sound like, you know, the sun's always shining, but I got through it. I was all right. You know, I'm still here. I just found different ways to motivate myself. I took my training a lot more seriously in the time I had. I've been reading a lot. I think I read like 10 books, or it'll be 11, but probably by tomorrow, by the time I finish this one, 11 books in this last lockdown. I look for new ways and new avenues that we could expand reach. Even if we couldn't get in the ring, I sort of thought, well, what else can we do? I had to keep my mind focused, because I think the worst thing you can do is if you don't focus and you let the whole stay home, save lives, and you're locked down. If you let that really fester in your mind, the problem you get is then you start again, you know, feeling a little bit trapped, a little bit, you feel like you're locked down. Whereas I tried to make it as though I never felt like I was. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that just kept me going. That's what I did. I mean, with reach, it's you know something. It's really strange because obviously it was not ideal losing, like stopping for a year with reach, like not after. I mean, we just had All Roads Lead to Gold, right? And that main event was good, and we kept like you know, I know like my involvement in it wasn't ideal for some people, but yeah, but as far as the story goes, and I think that the present,
now she's getting a bit angry now. You can see that.
yeah.
I want to laugh.
I remember because I hid backstage after the
I
show.
saw we made awkward eye contact, and then you disappeared.
I ran off. Yeah, literally. I remember someone saying to me, I think Grayson said to me, "Aren't you going out the front?" I was like, "No, not today." I was like, "No, not today." But I think the actual presentation of what we were trying to achieve, I felt we did really well, and I thought it was some great momentum. For, you know, we had a new champion. I just made a big turn, and I felt like, right, we got some, you know, some steam now. We got some new angles and stories and things that we're ready to you know, bring to you guys and freshen things up a little bit. And then that all got, you know, stomped. So we had to use Unit 10, which I found actually was quite a really successful experience. What do you guys think about Unit 10?
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah,
It was nice seeing the new talent coming through, the academy guys and girls.
Yeah, I agree.
Really impressive.
And I think for them, it's a new platform. And for us as Reach, I didn't know, right, this is how out of touch I can be with some things. I didn't know being a YouTuber was a job until last year. When one of our guys told me he makes, you know, good money off being a YouTuber, and I thought it was some kind of wind up. Like I thought it was like a game or something. I didn't know what he meant. And I asked him, I said, "What do you mean?" And Grayson explained to me that he does this Football Manager game, and I said, like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean." And he's like, "Well, I do it on YouTube." And I said, "What do you mean? Like, I don't know what you're saying to me. I don't really understand like how you make money off YouTube." So that's how out of touch I was. And when he started to explain it to me, I said, like, holy shit, you know, I was like, you can do all that stuff from YouTube? And he was telling me about all these people that make millions. Like, it blows my mind. Millions a year from YouTube. And I just, like, he just called, what does it call them? Content creators. I think it was his. I just couldn't believe it. So I asked him, like, how difficult would it be for us to have one of these like YouTube platforms for reach? And he just sort of laid it out to me and how simple it would be. And all I kept thinking was, so we'll have a platform away from our live shows where we can promote all our talent, our in-house talent. We can promote our live shows. We've got another sort of another tool, you know, a marketing thing, something that we can use for a promotional tool to promote our live shows, and we can get all our in-house talent extra experience. And I just thought, I felt like I'd sort of jumped and landed on a bouncy castle. I was just like, this is brilliant. This is wonderful. And I feel like it all went, you know, for the most part. I can be critical because I'm a bit like that, but for the most part, I thought it was a really, really good thing. And like you said, you got to see, you know, some new fresh talent that you haven't seen before. I know you haven't seen them anywhere because I was the first person to train them on day one, and we debuted a lot of new people. Yeah. So it was a really nice thing to know that we were giving people a complete brand new start. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, I must say, you're talking about Omega Luke, and he's really impressed so far. I think he's really good. He's got some great moves in that ring. And, and Ruby was another one. Yeah. Out of the people we hadn't seen wrestle before, Ruby was good. Omega Luke was good, you know. And we're really the way Jordan's come on as well, and every coming the Academy champion.
I was really impressed with him.
He's done really well.
His debut as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I mean, I could, you know, honestly, you both know me well enough. I could go on for hours if we start talking about like about this kind of thing. But if we just take those three, and I'll try to keep it reasonably short if I can, right? So Omega Luke is the guy that gave me the YouTube idea, and he has been so instrumental behind the scenes. There's a lot that you wouldn't care, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that isn't just the wrestling. And I think a lot of the time, fans, I don't know why, but some fans love to know all the dirt and all that. I don't know why, but the credit that I have to give Omega Luke for Unit 10, he was so instrumental in explaining to me how things would, because I'm not a control freak, but I like to know all the details. I don't micromanage people because I explain quite clearly what I want. And if they can go away and do it, I'm happy. If they just show me the end product and I like it. But if I don't understand something, I probably ask what look like really stupid questions. So I might say to Omega Luke, who's been doing YouTube for years and years and years, I might say a really stupid question like, how do you upload this video? Or how do you shoot that? And he's probably thinking, oh, come on, man. You know, like you sound like a child. But I'll ask him those kind of questions. And he was very, very patient with me. And he was very good with me. And he'd explain things to me, and show me how we did things and why we shot things a certain way. And he'd always tell me, you know, maybe we need some more of this and a little bit less of that. And I was ears open, mouth shut, so that I could learn something new about, you know, a new sort of stream for us and for fans, like for the Reach Army, right? Somewhere that we could put product out for you. And that was a really good thing, was week in, week out. I said to him, like, could we do this like once a month? He was like, we could do it every week. And that was it for me. I was like, every week, a Reach show every week, and that just, so he's got to get credit. He would never tell anybody. That's the thing. He might put on his Twitter as like a, you know, like in character, right? But he will never tell anybody. We couldn't have done Unit 10 without him. So I'm extremely grateful. The other one was Ruby. She started wrestling. She's good friends with Echo Reed, and she turned up one day to the training school. She won't mind me saying, very ditzy, not really sort of with it. And I just kind of asked her, what are you doing here? And she said, oh, I'm here to wrestle. And I said, oh, okay. Well, you know, like, excellent. You know, where did you hear about us? She's like, my friend told me, and I'm looking around like, who's your friend? I was like, who? I was thinking, is she just like coming by accident? And, you know, but then Echo Reed started to explain to me, oh, this is my friend. She's, you know, an ex-cheerleader and all this kind of stuff. And for the first 6 months, I think Ruby would admit herself, she wasn't really committed to wrestling. She was just kind of coming and going and turning up when she felt like it. And then I had this conversation with her one day, and it wasn't that it wasn't a pleasant conversation, but it was a conversation designed for me to understand, like, are you here like all in, like a lot of us are, or are you just here for something to do? Because what I don't tend to do is spend too much time on somebody that openly admits to me, I'll be honest, I'm here for the social aspect. I'm here for the, just to get fit. I have no interest in being a professional wrestler. I don't want to get to the WWE. I don't want to be the Reach Heavyweight Champion. I don't, no, they just say, I really am just here to, I'm like, okay, well, you know, you'll still get my time and attention, but I just won't push you as hard as perhaps I'll push somebody that's constantly be telling me I want to be a star. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we had a conversation one day, and I want to say I was hard on her because I've been like it just about to everybody, but I was pretty sort of stern and just asked her like outright, you know, will you make the damn decision? Like, do you want to do this or not? And she messaged me a couple of days after that and she said, you know what, that was, I'm so glad you said that to me. I've made my choice. And I thought, this is probably where I get a message saying I'm quitting. Like, I'm done with wrestling. You're right. It's not for me. And she's like, I'm really all in. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, like, I'll be honest. I was like, really? Like, oh, yeah. She came to train in like the next session, let's say. And I shit you not, it was like a switch went off in her head. She just turned it on. And I would grab her so often and say to her, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Like, whatever the hell it is that's got into you, or whatever you think. And we work out together. We don't work out as much together, but we used to work out, just me and her, quite a lot. She, this is what I'm talking about. I would say a message out to all the students in the group saying, hey guys, listen, this is the next time I'm training. This is, you know, the time I'll be there if anyone can be there. She never ever missed a workout with me in about 3 months. Never ever missed a workout. I would say to her, for example, your conditioning is good, but it's not as good as mine. And I'm 12 years older than you are. So she'd get annoyed, right? And then next thing you know, we both run the same fitness test, and she'd beat me by 10 seconds. And I'd be like, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Then I was like, I should not have said that. Well, then I'll say something to her to motivate her, like, you're too small. You can't be a wrestler. You need to put on some muscle. And now if you ever see her Instagram, she's doing chin-ups, like for probably nearly as many chin-ups as I can do. So every time I tell her, you know, like as a motivational tool, you can't do this, you can't do that, she just outworks everybody. She just outworks everyone. And she said to me once before, what if I don't get an opportunity? Like what? She said, like, what else do I need to do? And I told her, I will give you a platform if you work as hard as you're working. If you continue to work that hard, how can I ignore you? I can't. Not that I would, but I mean, if you make yourself so good they can't ignore you, which is what she's doing. She's, I mean, you got to think, she was a 4-time, right? She don't tell you, was 4-time British cheerleading champion. 4 times British champion in cheerleading. So she's a good athlete anyway, and extremely committed when she wants something. So when she decided in her head, I want wrestling now, well, that was it. Like she might end up being the, you know, truly you make. I told her, I said, if you really want this, you can go anywhere in the world and wrestle. I said, you'll be a star. I mean, I think it was a bit much for her to comprehend, because she went from 1 minute just turning up for fun to the next minute, oh, I could really do this. And the other one was Jordan.
Yeah.
He said he again, we talk about behind the scenes. It was probably a surprise to a lot of people. So he appeared probably in the eyes of like fans and things to suddenly get this mega push, like John Cena style push. Yeah. But he what no one saw behind the scenes was a guy that, not that different to Ruby, was living up in the Dorset area somewhere, and decided when he wanted to go to university that he needed to go to the university that had a wrestling school. And he looked around, so that was his whole goal. I can't go uni unless there's a wrestling school there. And he looked at Plymouth, so our wrestling school, came down to our school, and just absolutely has done it. Nobody has worked any harder than he has behind the scenes. If it's like one of those boring days where we all got to clean up the unit, or it's a postering day where you got to get out and it's raining outside. If it's we're all going to do a group workout, he's like first one there, last one out the door. And he's been like that since kind of day one. And if I ever pull him aside and say, you need some more of this, you can guarantee within, 2-3 sessions, suddenly he's picked up that what he needs more of or less of, and he's as a young man, he's 21 now, I think it is, he's wasn't so much a leader like Joey Seven is. He's quite a natural leader. I think Jordan's growing as a man. As he matures, he's becoming what the Academy champion needs to be, which is the leader of the locker room.
I think Joey's older, isn't he? So he's got that experience anyway. Yeah. And not as a wrestler, but as a man, he's older and he knows what life's about. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think Joey naturally understood what his role was. And, he's another one that I could talk for bloody hours about. He understood his role at the time of being the champion, was being sometimes the one to turn to, the one that had to lead the way. And Jordan's fallen into that role now quite nicely. And he's got that because he earned it. No one gave it to him. It wasn't a nepotism thing. I know, obviously, the story is like me and him are great buddies, but that was not how it happened. It wasn't because secretly me and him were drinking together every night and I said, oh, they're making a champ. It wasn't like that. It was his work ethic that got him to where he is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I suppose it's having people like him about, and Ruby and LA Taylor and all the people we know about, and they're so eager to learn. It must make your job as a trainer easier as well.
That's such a loaded question, because yes, easier in a way, yes, because they want to learn. There's nothing worse, right? Than I've done seminars before where half the people are listening and half the people aren't, and I'm stood there thinking, well, I'm being paid for this. Like your coach, whoever he is or she is paying me to come here and try to teach you maybe perhaps a different perspective than the one that your coach has got, or whatever the deal is. Yeah. I'm being paid to be here to help you become better at this entertainment form we all love, right? And they just away with the fairies like that when I'm talking, or I can see they're looking, but they're looking past me, and I'm thinking to myself, shit, like why am I here? And I think with our guys, they care. They crave the knowledge and the ring time. Yeah. And that is evidenced in the performances you see. For like LA Taylor's a great example. LA Taylor, God, when I start talking about these guys and girls, I get so like passionate. Like she she won't mind me saying, she might mind me saying, but she'd stick her, but I don't care. I'm gonna admit, she'll admit herself because she's an honest person. When she started, she was like 2 left feet. Like she just couldn't get it. And sometimes, she'd get very upset and very emotional, which is fair enough. We have all sorts of range of emotions in the school. She'd become really mad at herself if she couldn't get things. And then, like most people in wrestling, this weird thing happens, right? Where it just clicks. It's weird. But I've seen it happen so many times where you just sort of get it, right? And you just suddenly go, oh. And it's like pulling back the curtains of the great powerful Wizard of Oz. And you think it's a really scary thing, and you realize, oh, it's just a man with a microphone. Yeah. Once they sort of realize, wait a minute, I can do this. She was probably the best example of someone that went from kind of looking like, oh, we're gonna have problems here trying to get this lady through, to, oh my God, look at her now. I mean, like literally look at her now. Like her star quality, her success, which a lot of it, by the way, is her work. I'd love to sit here and say, well, I told her to do this and that, but a lot of it was off her own back. Was once she realized, oh, wait, I can do some of this, or I can be a bit like that. She realized, like, I'm going to push this envelope a little bit and go out there, and her natural sort of charisma's come out in her, and she's got a charm about her that she, like a star quality that you want to watch her. Even when you want to boo her, you're invested. And I think her match against Millie was a really, really good example of how far she'd come in a short time when she wrestled Millie. And if I didn't know Millie had all those years' experience versus how much experience LA had, if I just watched those two as a everyday person on the street, I couldn't have told the difference in experience or quality. And I really mean that, like hand on heart, not just saying, oh, because she's one of my girls. I really mean that. And I think, again, that's a testament.
I think we said that LA Taylor looked right up there with Millie. She didn't look out of place. She looked like she was there.
Yeah, I remember feeling like a bit nervous for her beforehand.
Yeah, I was.
She looked so natural in the ring with Millie. It was great. It was really nice to see.
But Joey's another one who looks like he's been wrestling for years and years. Doesn't he? He looks so accomplished and so smooth and natural at wrestling. It looks amazing, doesn't he? Really.
He's a good-looking bastard as well. He is, honestly. You have to admit, he's such a good guy. Like he's. Honestly, I swear, I think he's come to the school just to annoy everybody else, because he's if he was he's a great athlete. Yeah. He looks great. His tans might even be, sometimes he's more tan than me, and I thought that was impossible. But I look at his like, you have this thing where
is he as tan as Eddie Ryan though?
It'd be pretty close. It would be pretty close. There's there's that whole like testosterone thing, and sometimes when you look at another guy and he's looking at you and you're looking at him, you're kind of thinking like, does he look better than me, or like, is he more tan than me, and that kind of thing. I think with Joey, he's like a great look, and on top of everything, the fact that he's a great look, great athlete, he's a genuinely really good guy. Like genuinely, it's not put on to impress people. It's not designed to make people want to love him. He's just a good guy, and he's sort of, like you say, and he's so smooth in the ring for the time he's been. I think one of the things to remember is, like with LA Taylor and Joey 7, is they've been in the business 3 years, or Joey, whatever he's calling it, like 2.5 years he's been in this business, and a year of that was in lockdown. So you got to think how far these guys have come in that short space of time. I got to tip my hat a little bit and say it's just some real solid training, because we don't mess about where we teach and where we train. But you can give them a ball, they've got to run with it at some point. They've got to run and score a touchdown. And I think with a few of them, you give them the ball and they're really running. And now they're getting so confident. They're not just running, they're doing like cartwheels and stuff. And you think this is like 1.5 years, 2 years in. You sort of wonder, where would they be year 3, year 4, year 5? The world really is their oyster. I really do think.
But you must be so proud of all the academy students. You've put on some great performances at Unit 10. So will you be moving away from bringing in so many big names for the main Reach shows in future and push the homegrown talent?
I am very proud. You're right. I'm just pouring a drink, so just bear with me. I'm not very good at multitasking.
Pouring a drink.
Yeah. Sit on the toilet, hopefully.
Yeah. So you the bigger names. I think what we mean by that, I'll just shout some out to you to make sure we're on the same page. I guess we're talking like the guys that weren't trained at the school. So we use Joe Riley, PJ Jones, Josh Knott. And me, I want to train to the school. Grayson, right? I guess it's stepping away from those people that you've seen before, the Reach guys and girls.
Like the Niwas and
Only one.
people like not David Starr, obviously, because of that, but people with the same personality like that, you know.
I see what you said. So
Bino,
so
thing, yeah.
who's that? Sorry,
Bino and that sort of.
Bino. Yeah, I spoke to him today actually. That's a good name drop. Bino, he's a good lad, isn't he? The what did you think of Bino? That's a good question. What do you think of it? Since we're on the subject,
Yeah, I like him. He's fantastic.
Oh, he's great.
He's fantastic. He seems to be a genuinely nice guy as well.
Yeah, no, he's another.
He'll always stop and chat, like, you know. He's a great wrestler, isn't he? He's fantastic. He's a big fan favorite, isn't he? Really.
He's very popular. Yeah, he's very good lad.
Many different places, or
Yeah.
we used to back in the day.
Back in the day, he used to get everywhere, didn't he? In those days. Yeah.
But he had a load of belts at one point, didn't he? I remember seeing his Twitter or something. He had loads of titles. I thought,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they're going to go run at this.
Yeah, he was the Dragon Pro champ as well, wasn't he?
lost that to my bestie.
Yeah, he lost at the Bronco.
I tell you what, you talk about yin and yang, honestly. I'm up here in a good mood talking about Bino, and you'll bring up Brendan White. Honestly, I don't know what I did.
All the time, Jason. You know, you've only got to listen to it for an hour or so. I've got to listen to it all the time. Broncos on Twitter again. Look what Broncos done now. Look.
Me and Bronco catch up.
I hope he watches this. You know, I think you're his only fan.
I think you're probably right, actually, but no, he's all right. He's
I like Brendan. He's a good lad. Good lad. Spoke to Brendan the other day.
He works hard for what he got, hasn't he? Really.
He's another one.
Amazing.
I met Brendan at a UPW show. We're at a show called the. To be honest, it's probably might be the best locker room I've ever been in. It was what was called a UPW Next Gen show. All right. And you had see, at the time we were all the guys in that locker room, and I didn't realize till I was looking around, and I said to Grayson, I said to everybody, because we were all chitty chatty. It's a really good vibe in that locker room. And I said, like, if we look around, I said to everybody, we're the names and the faces that are probably projected this was at the time, the next 2-3 years, that are probably going to be just about everywhere. And we're looking around, and there was like me and Grayson, and there was a guy called Lion Kid, and there was Curtis Chapman, Eddie Kenway, is he called?
Yeah, Eddie Kenway, yeah.
Yeah, there was Brendan, Psycho Phillips was there, Josh Knott, and I was looking around this room, Kid Ref was there, and I remember thinking like I'd seen it like on social media, a few of these guys buy the video package and everything, and I thought, wait a minute, and I realized Mark Fry, to his credit, did a good job that night, because he put some real hungry talent. Johnny Gale was another one. He put a load of us, and there was another guy, I got to get his name. What was he called? He used to squirt people with water.
Oh, Charleston Allen.
Yes, Hot Shot. Yeah, another one. Really good dude, really good worker, and in that locker room, you really had some real talent of names at the time that were coming up, and everybody wanted to steal the show, and everybody was, and that's where I first met Brendan, and he's as good as gold. I love Brendan. I do. I joke about it, but he's a good guy. He's a good friend of mine, and it was really, really cool that night to see so much talent, you know, in one room of and it's kind of like what we have now at the academy. You go into like the locker room of an academy show, and I tend to try, if I can avoid it, I don't want to wrestle on the academy shows, so that if I don't have to, unless there's a story or whatever, but and I'm walking around the locker room sometimes, and I see them all, and I think, God damn, you know, it's 15, 20 people that I remember seeing on day one, and I see where they're at now, and I think this is incredible. I just see the hunger in these people. They all want to steal the show. And if they're not in the main event, they're thinking, God damn, I still want a main event match. I still want to go out there and show the people like I should be the academy champion, or I should be wrestling that guy or that girl. And I think the passion is definitely, so to revert back to your question, the passion that they've all got is definitely there for us to use them. And only our guys. And as a business model goes, it would make sense to use only your own talent, because it's, you know, realistically. But there's still some value in guys and girls that are in other parts of the country. It would make sense, I think, to mix guys and girls that you see at Reach with guys and girls that you see outside of Reach, as long as they're any good. They've got if you're outside of Reach, then you need to primarily bring value to Reach, to our students, to our fans. If you don't cover those bases, then there's no point you coming in. If somebody's, say, a big star on the internet, and I watch a couple of his matches or her matches, and I think, I don't really see it. I don't know I don't really get it. And I can't find, say, a student to match them up with. Then I think, well, what's the point of bringing you in? Because really my goal primarily as a promoter is to promote the 42 people that we've got currently in our training school, is to bring them through and make Reach, a more successful brand. If I can't do that with somebody, it's a bit boring me giving you this long-winded answer because it's a bit more businessy, less like yay wrestling. But if as a business decision, I can't get anything from it, for the students, for the fans. I mean, here's an example. We're bringing in Doug Williams again for Tavistock. There's value in bringing in Doug because we can all learn something as wrestlers from seeing Doug around. Fans, I hope, want to see Doug Williams again. I do, as a fan. So we're kind of hoping that there's value in bringing someone like Doug in because we can all get something from it. If we can get to it, sorry, go on.
His nose you broke or no?
Very good.
Was it? It was, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I know it was an accident, but I was there for that show, and it looked pretty. He was well busted open, wasn't he?
He was. It was such a strange moment because I wanted to wrestle Doug for a very long time. Yeah. And when that happened, I remember thinking that I'm not really sure when he gets too nervous in the ring. I'm quite relaxed, But in that moment, I just thought, yeah, this is it. Your career's over with. All these things are going through my head. All ridiculous things are going through my head. I was like, your career's over with. You're going to get blacklisted. They're going to take Reach off you. All this really stupid stuff, right? But it was because I thought, in my head, I was like, I've killed Doug Williams. I was like, what have I done? What have I done? And once I got backstage, he was super cool about it. And he showed me another injury he had and stuff. And we were like super calm and it relaxed. That night I had to go drinking because I was feeling a bit tense. But I just remember thinking after the match, just like, why in this match? Like, of all the matches you've had, why this one? Did that have to happen? If I'd headbutted, I don't want to headbutt anybody or whatever. I don't know what I did. I think I headbutted him. I really don't know. But Joey Seven said to me, he's watched that back. He said he's watched it about 50 times and he still can't work out what I've done to him. He said he can't see. And I said, I just assumed I headbutted him. Someone else probably thought I bit him. And I was like, but I thought, how would I bite him? Like, what? I was like, come on, what I've done.
But
I have no idea. And I spoke to Doug's, I think his ex-partner now, 2 years ago or so. And I just messaged her on Facebook saying, would he ever want to come down to a seminar, that kind of thing? And she said, oh, yeah, Doug's just told me you're the guy that broke his nose. And I was like, yeah, that was me, But we had a chat about it. And I said, the match was really good. I felt really happy with the match. It's just an accident that happens. And when he messaged, she said that he was saying yeah, it was a really good match. He enjoyed it. It's just one of those things. So that was really nice for me because I think for a few years I was kind of like, why did you do that? What? And it was on my mind, not all the time, but whenever anyone brought him up, I was always like, oh yeah, that happened. But now I'm like, it's one of those things. Could have happened to anybody. I mean, how often do we see in the WWE somebody gets cut by accident or somebody gets injured? It can happen, So and it's a funny story to tell, but it's that's what you're gonna do. I laugh about it now rather than cry. So
you've got to, really. Yeah, you've got to, like you say, it's accidents happen, don't they?
Yeah.
So you generated a lot of interest in your Unit 10 shows, as you mentioned. Was it always the hope of yours to do it eventually, or was it just a happy accident with the pandemic?
I think I answered that earlier. I did give a long-winded answer. So if I answer some of these questions, as a forward, you just have to work with me. It was because we couldn't run a live show because of the pandemic and everything. So it was like, what do we do now? And content is king. I'm learning. Again, I don't know anything about YouTube and online. I'm rubbish, but I'm learning. I'm trying to learn. So we had to keep. I always think if your product is any good, then people will want to see it. And the fact that YouTube was for free, I thought was really rewarding. Because I thought you guys have supported us, you two are two of the most people in particular, because you come to most of our shows, unless you come to all of them, I don't know, but for certain, most of them, right? And it makes me feel like the hard work, and I am relentless with my work ethic, believe me. The work I put in, I say to myself, it's worth it if I can give back to you now, because I say, okay, well, those boxes it has to tick, right? It has to tick 3 boxes always. You'll probably hear me say this quite a lot, but one, it has to tick, personally. So I have to get something from it where I can say, okay, I want to feel something. I think I've said similar to you guys before, but when I perform, I want to feel something in the energy. So I have to get something from it. So that's the first thing. If I can get something from it and I can feel it, I say, okay, let's entertain this idea. Then I say, does it help our students? Does it help our fans? With the Unit 10 thing, I felt like all these boxes were ticked, and I thought this is going to be a real. I was hoping, right? I said to myself, just get 1,000 views on your first episode, and I'll be happy. Just that way, people are paying attention. Now, all of the episodes got, you know, over 1,000 views. I think the minimum is like 1,200 and something views, and you know, some of them got like 4,000, and it just showed us that there was a clear interest. It was free, so I was able for free to give our students an opportunity to learn and grow, to continue our storylines and things, and keep our content out there and give back to the people during a time when I could stay home, save lives and all that stuff. Stay home on a Friday night for an hour. Maybe your whole week's bad, but if Friday night, I think it was 7 p.m. we put it on, you know, if we could give you something as a way of saying we're still here, like work with us, don't go anywhere, like we're trying to make things okay. It just made me feel like, yeah, let's get something out there. And I think you know, you guys said earlier you enjoyed it, you like seeing new faces, new people. For me, it's like, I don't want to sound too soppy, but it's really rewarding because I feel like we are able to like give something back to you guys, and we're able to achieve something. And it just ticks those boxes that make me feel like I don't care that we don't make money like in certain things. Like, it's not about the money. I'll wipe my ass for the bloody money. Everyone talks about money all the time. It's something that's more important than money is being able to give back, because I didn't know I never paid attention to how diehard fans really were of wrestling until, like, even in my most popular days, I think as a wrestler at PWA, I was becoming very popular in this area, and I would sell a lot of merchandise, and I get really good reactions. And I would stop and talk to fans and everything, and I thought it was lovely, but I didn't really understand the level of like passion people have for wrestling. And I always think if you treat a wrestling fan how they deserve to be treated, which is correctly, don't insult their intelligence, and give them a bloody product that's good. Give them a product they feel part of. They want to be part of, and that's what I think we tried to do. And I was just so grateful, to be honest, that there are people out there that share how I think wrestling, proper professional wrestling, as I call it, how I think that should be. And then the reciprocation has been incredible for these past 3 years, and it just makes me, anytime we could give something back, believe me, like we will. This because I can't help myself. if I think, oh, they'll love that, we've got to do it. It's because that's what we're about. That's, you know.
Unit 10 certainly put you over with people during the pandemic who've not had a lot of wrestling to watch, has it? So having Unit 10 and RevPro have done the odd show, but do you think it's given you an advantage over the other promotions that haven't done anything during the lockdown?
Yeah, simple answer, yes, because other companies were falling by the wayside, and there was more than just the pandemic going on, as we know. I don't know how much you want to touch on certain other things.
A bit later.
Okay, so in that case, let's just stick to the pandemic to answer this question. It didn't help a lot of people, obviously. From day one, when we built Reach, I told Grayson, I said, we need to do this properly, whatever it takes to do this the right way. Because I won't mention any names, but I knew companies that weren't doing things the right way and making bad choices and all that sort of stuff. And I just said to him, if we do this, which I wanted to, but I told him, I said, it has to be right. And he agreed. He said, yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, so I don't have a business degree, and I don't even have a GCSEs. So I've got nothing, right? I really don't have anything. Like, I'm not a mastermind behind it all, like with these great qualifications. I have literally nothing in the way of qualifications. I just, so for me, it was, I had to go out and say to myself, okay, how do you make a business? Like, when there's nothing, how do I make something? Like, how do I do that? What's the legal way to do that? And so we had to go and I studied a lot, and I had to learn and like do a lot of reading and stuff about how to make Reach legal and like a registered company. And once we did that, we were able to perhaps go down different avenues that others weren't, because there are still companies out there now that if you ask them to say, could you provide like I'm not going to name names, but if you said, could you show me your history of taxes? You've been in business 8 years, 10 years, 12 years. Could you show me your tax history? No, they couldn't. If you said to them, can you show me receipts for some of the things you, no, they couldn't. And it's not a bitch fest, because I'm not like that. But but those companies do exist in British wrestling. They do exist, and they're still here now. And a lot of them are struggling during the pandemic because they didn't put the work in at the start, which was doing things legally by the book, like we did. And again, I stress, not because I'm a business management expert, but because I'm a good human being who realized if we're going to do something properly, it has to be done legally and right. That didn't take a business degree to tell me that. So my thing was, in like a pandemic, we were able to progress forward. I've made business deals in this pandemic. I can't tell you about it all yet, but we've got a sports nutrition company that we're going to be working with, a fucking humongous sports nutrition company. We've got a play lined up that Reach is going to be involved in. So many things that I honestly.
You haven't.
What's that?
Oh,
no, you haven't. Very good. I get it. Very good, Dave. Very good. Like, you're all weak. I think there's so much that we do that allowed us different outlets and different options that others don't have. And I was really proud of the fact someone brought to my attention that we ultimately, during the pandemic, if you had to rank every wrestling company in this country for content and everything, we'd have to be number one. And I would debate that on any podcast with anybody anywhere in Great Britain, because I don't recall anybody else doing as much as we did. Where other companies were unfortunately stuck at a standstill, we were still growing. We got our online shop up and running, and we got our Unit 10 series out. I mean, we really were literally expanding during the pandemic. And if we weren't a wrestling company and say we were a shop that was able to do that, people would think we were some kind of, at a touch of God or something. But we just worked relentlessly the right way. And just, I know RevPro didn't someone, right, you can help me out with this. This is not a dig at anybody. You can give me the answer, hopefully. Somebody told me that RevPro was charging $3.99 a month for their content, which is excellent. Well done, RevPro. And then someone told me they changed it, now it's all free.
I think they have been showing some of their shows for
free. It
free.
was on there on demand at first, and then they did move to putting it out on Twitch. I'm not sure if it was all of it on Twitch, but yeah, they changed that around.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know their business model. I know the name of the man that runs the company, but I don't think I've ever met him. So I don't know why they would do that. What I do know is that our content, couldn't get my word out, was free the entire pandemic. Nobody would have paid me a penny during that pandemic to watch Unit. I didn't make any money, none, zero. But guess what? I don't care. It's the point I'm making is our content was free the entire time. Now, if you were a smart wrestling promoter and you were looking around the country during the pandemic at what others were doing, and if you saw there was a wrestling company down in the south, out the way, where apparently nobody goes, which is bullshit, which I get very hot about, but apparently out the way, right, where it's not a hotbed of wrestling, which again is absolute nonsense. But if you were looking down there and you noticed thousands of people were watching this show every week and the content was good, you might sort of decide, oh, actually, that stuff's really good and they're giving that stuff away for free. I mean, I don't know what other companies were giving away content during the lockdown, but I know that we were the number one for certain. Yeah. We were the number one. And that's a very, very flattering feeling because you feel like the work we put in is worth it.
Have you had any conversations with promoters from up the country asking about maybe hiring some of the wrestlers for shows?
Loads.
On the back of Unit 10?
Loads, yeah, loads. So that's a really good thing. I never went to the north to wrestle and to London very much to wrestle. So I didn't know, I knew them by name and stuff, but I didn't have personal relationships with a lot of guys and girls that promote wrestling. So I couldn't be saying to 10, 15, 20 different promoters, listen, I got these 3 people I need you to take a look at for me. I didn't have that relationship. So I'm young as a promoter, same as Grayson. So, and as coaches, so we're still building those connections now, but.
Who's the youngest out of you two?
Who's the youngest?
Yeah.
Who do you think looks the youngest? Come on. He's had a tough paper round.
You, I would say, but you know.
If I remember being surprised because I thought Grayson's older than he is, but I can't remember how old he is.
All right.
Well, I'll explain just so for the record, right? I'm 23 and Grayson's 35.
You're 23. Nice try.
I might be a little bit older than 23.
You've just turned the 3 and the 2 around, haven't you?
Yeah, you're very good. Yeah, nothing gets past you, is it? Yeah, I'm not 23. No, I'm older than Grayson. He's.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah.
How is he? How old is he? 30?
All right.
I think he turned 30 in March. I'm
Right.
sure he had a midlife crisis when he turned 30. So he's I think that was this. Oh, is he 31? Oh, I
Still
don't know.
boys, really.
Yeah, we're still young men.
Compared to me.
You know?
I was about to
Compared
say,
to me.
from your perspective.
It's like when I go on Twitter, somebody said, "Oh, I've turned 35 this week. I feel so I get no life." I'd give anything. I'd give my left bollock to be 35 again. I tell you.
I like it.
Yeah, no, it's good that you've got the Reach Academy guys out there with the Unit 10 shows, and like you say, it's paying dividends now, isn't it?
I think so, yeah, because we're getting a lot of inquiries, and one of the things we always do is I always say to the guys when they're first getting their offers for bookings, I usually get them a little bit of work because someone will message me saying, "We'd like to use you for whatever show," and I'll often say, "Okay, well, can you take 2 or 3 of my people and we'll work out a deal or whatever it is, so that ultimately they get some experience." And as time has gone by, quite fortunately, I think there's a couple of them that I'll say to them, like, right, you understand how it works now. You know, when a promoter contacts you, you don't need me to, clear the way or anything, or help you through it. I'm always there if they need me. They know that, right? So, like, but a few of them will get contacted and they'll send me a screenshot saying this person's contacted me. I don't know who they are. They've offered me a booking. I don't know what to say, what to do. And I'll usually explain to them what to say and explain to them the business side of the business, the boring bit, right? The in the ring. And what we get is I'm a little bit more cautious when somebody I don't know or I've got no mutual friends with or anything messages, say one of our, I don't want to, but say like our younger talent or our female talent.
Yeah.
And I'll usually say to them, let me just check out who this person is. Because I know enough guys and girls in the business where I can say, listen, who's this? Who's this guy? Who says he runs this company? She says she runs this company. Who are they? Right. And we've not had any problems yet. But just recently, for example, somebody contacted Ruby that I'd never heard of, never seen. So I told her, I said, listen, make sure, thank him for his, booking request. But if you send him to me, and I'll make sure that we work out a deal for you so that this is all above board and that you're not in any danger and that I can work out who this bloke is because I'm. But as it turned out, it was good to go. Sent me details of the event, sent me everything I requested. We agreed, financials and everything, and all was good. And I said, okay, look, I just never heard of him, but he explained that he'd seen her from the Unit 10 series. Yeah. So I thought, oh, excellent, right? Because this guy had never used anyone, I don't even think, from this part of the country before. So it was nice for him to, the first person he turned to was watches Unit 10, sees, one of our students, says, oh, out of everybody they saw, that was the person they wanted to use. So I thought that was a really, really cool thing. Really awesome. So yeah, Unit 10 has allowed us to get a lot more, actually got a lot farther afield. We had some stuff in Nottingham before that one bus, and then we had some stuff, Maidstone, I think we just got one, someone offered one the other day.
I see them going up to Southwest Wrestling, Pete Bainbridge.
Yeah, Pete seems Pete's a good guy.
Yeah, Pete's a good guy.
There's a few, he seems a good fella. I've not seen those Southwest shows, but I've heard about the Southwest shows a few years back. And then I think I liked their pages. I thought, oh, I'd be interested to see what they're all about. And I heard somebody backstage, I'd be straight, give like a really negative review about Southwestern. So I think I clicked on their page like a month later and I thought, I wonder what they're really about. Their posters, I think, are excellent. The talent they book are really good. Their shows look really good. And I thought, what? What's he talking about there? This looks really good. I really like, he put out a lot of dates, I remember, during the pandemic, and unfortunately for him, he's had to move them all. I'm hoping that doesn't cause people to lose faith and say like, oh, it's out of his control. It's a pandemic. It wasn't his choice, but I know some people can have that mindset of, oh, whatever, you keep moving your dates, but he really doesn't have a choice. So I think he's tried and he's worked hard by the looks of it to bring something to you, to all of us, right, as fans, and to talent on his roster. But just unfortunately, the bloody pandemic has caused him to get knocked back every now and then. But he seems like the kind of place, if you're a wrestler, you'd want to work. As a fan, you'd want to see. He's got talent from all around the country, from what I saw. He's booked, some from the north and from London. He's got some of our guys going up there. I mean, I've never seen his shows. What are they? Have you guys been on his shows?
I mean,
really good vibe
we'll travel 2.5 hours to see a show and then drive 2.5 hours back again afterwards.
Yeah.
That's how much we like him. So
that is good.
And Pete's, like you say, he's a good guy and he puts on really good shows and he's like old school Pete.
And he always comes in hello as well. Like he's got time for everybody and that's really nice.
That is nice. Yeah, that's it. I love that. I have to go to one of these shows. I'll pop up there because that I love hearing. I think that's how it should be. Because at the end of the day, if there are no fans, no wrestling. So I think you've got to, and not even like you've got to, but you should want to meet the people that are investing their time into your shows. Like you said, if you travel 2.5 hours to see a show, I want to meet those people because I want to know what it is that makes them. If you travel 2.5 hours to see a Reach show, I'd want to know. I want to talk to you and say, what made you come here? Hopefully you'd say Jason King, but probably not. You might say, whatever it's like, whatever it is that, that whoever it is or whatever it is that's made you come here. I love to hear that stuff because I think, okay, well, that's interesting. Whatever it is that we're doing right is making people, or in Southwest's case, whatever it is they're doing is clearly working because they're wanting to, people are wanting to go 2.5 hours to see them. I think that's great. That's really good.
You get people coming from London up country to see Reach as well. So you obviously you're doing something right to get the fans coming back month in, month out.
Yeah, it's nice. We're getting fans come from quite far. I'm hearing stories of people from the north that will like pop something on Twitter or the fan page say like, "Can't wait for 6-hour journey." And I'm like, "Holy shit, that's 6 hours!" But then it's like, as performers, you're like, okay, well, not that we ever would have a night off, but then it's like, well, now you've really got to go to work. Someone's come, that far, and it's just it could be little touches of motivation, things like that.
But it does make people feel good watching a great show and meeting the wrestlers afterwards, and just feeling. Sometimes it's just feeling part of it just by saying hello to the wrestlers afterwards and all the pros. They don't try to be part of the show. They just like meeting them and chatting to them afterwards. It's you don't get that in any other sport, really.
No, I suppose you can't exactly go up to Cristiano Ronaldo and just sort of say like, "Good game. How did you miss that one off the 6-yard?" Like you couldn't really sort of get away with that. I think. Yeah, but do you know something? I think it's because for most of us as performers, I think we're grateful, really. If I'm honest, I know I am. I love meeting the people because I always think whether they're booing me or cheering me or as long as I'm making some noise, but I always think to myself, if it weren't for these people that we're here now, then you just play fight in your pants. And it's like the whole performance really revolves around having somebody who's invested in what you're doing. So I always like, I love seeing you guys at shows because I always think like if you're not happy, unless I've just kicked Eddie between the legs, 9 times out of 10 I'm quite interested to hear like what you've got to say, or if you're mad at me, or if you didn't like something, or you really like something, or I like hearing it. Like usually it's safe for me to come out the curtain, so I'm quite interested in sort of what people have got to say and do, and what you liked and what you didn't like. Because 9 times out of 10, I find it's all really positive. Usually, people. I mean, you'll get the odd occasion where someone will say something really, like peculiar, but mostly it always seems quite positive, and I think that's a nice thing because it makes me and I know other performers feel like, oh, we've had a good night tonight. They've appreciated our performance, which I think was good.
Well, we always appreciate I think all the fans appreciate what you do, and the danger you're in sometimes, and what you put at risk to entertain us. So every single one of us, we're always grateful for that. It's like you say, you get the odd bad comment, but then you get that in any walk of life, don't you?
Sometimes people just want to moan for the sake of moaning, let's be honest.
Yeah, you can't please everybody. I've tried. It's not doable. You can't, some people are just always gonna. We had a guy, do you know something? There was a guy on the page the other day that made some strange comment. I didn't really read it, but some comment on the page, and Eddie, it was about Eddie Ryan, and it's like I try not to get too caught up on that stuff. So, and then I saw Eddie Ryan comment something in return or whatever, and I said to Eddie, like, "It's funny, what's going on here?" And I took a look at it then a few days later, this lad apologised and said like I was out of line and everything, and I thought, bloody hell, what's going on here? Like, it was quite a. From my understanding, I was just thought, what are you moaning about? Like, what the fuck is the problem? Like, what are you doing? Like, I couldn't, just for the life of me, I thought, are you just having a moan for the sake of having a moan? 2 days later, he said, sorry, I was out of line and all this. And I thought, well, why do it? Because what if somebody that had not seen the product before had clicked on that page that day and said, oh, look at this, they bought a new coach. They read that, might have gone, oh, I don't know about this. I just thought, there's no need for that, is there? It's just negative. It's negative energy that nobody needs. Nobody needs that stuff.
I think with you, Grace, and now Eddie as trainers, I think you've got some of the best trainers in the country now for training school.
Like I have to be careful because I got to toe the line between self-belief and arrogance because it like
Really?
tough for me. It's tough for me. Like certain things are facts, right? My self-belief is outrageous, right? I really do believe hard work. If you work hard, you can do anything. I mean, Reach is literally evidence that you can achieve anything. I think you couldn't have a conversation, in my opinion, at the top 5 wrestling companies in the country and not mention us. If we didn't get in the top 5, I'd want to know why, what they were doing that we weren't. But we have to at least be in the conversation, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, our training school, it really, really, truly, like, don't have any journalists come down and see what we do, or any wrestling journalists really come pop in, and I'm quite private with that stuff, so I might let them, I might not. But if we had that kind of thing where someone had come down and said, you know, we want to see how you teach, you know, and I am all but certain the level of detail, and again, I'll say the level of conditioning that we put guys and girls through, and our work ethic, that word again, that work ethic, it is absolutely relentless. I mean, relentless. So because of that, I've seen some of our girls go to other training schools and absolutely sort of like feel a bit lost because they've done what other schools have called conditioning, and our girls have been like, what? Like, I'm not even warm yet. Like this, what? Like, do you think that's conditioning? And I've seen things where they've run drills in the ring where some of our guys are kind of like, okay, I'm just feeling a bit loose now, and everybody else is like, I'm not kidding, like puffing and panting on the floor, and our guys are like, huh? Like, what? Like, what's going on? Now, that is because, and this is, I can only speak what we know to be true. That is because we absolutely will drill them till it is perfect. And when it's perfect, we drill them again. So to the point you can't get it wrong. Now, it's all right getting something until you get it right once. But if you got it right once and climbed out the ring and said, yeah, got it now, it'd be no good. Once you've got it right once, I want you to get it right 20 times, 50 times, so that you cannot get it wrong. Because of that, we teach, and it's not for everybody, because some people just can't take it and they don't want to come back to class the next day, and that's fine. And that's fine. Or worse yet, some people go to another training school because it's easier, which does happen, which again is fine. But to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say honestly, I could not give another ounce, another second, another moment, you know, to that task. There's something powerful about that, and that's where your self-belief comes from. Because you realize no matter what level you're at, super fit, super unfit, if you are giving your everything to whatever it is, that task at hand at that time, you feel pretty good about yourself. I know that no school in the UK can honestly say they may work as hard. I don't know, I've not been to them. They may work as hard, but they fundamentally cannot work any harder than we work. If they did, I would go to their school and say, I'm going to be a trainee at your school. Teach me what I'm not doing, what we're not doing, because I'd say, okay, I'm obviously wrong. Let me humble myself. I want to learn, but I do believe you couldn't work any harder. Because of that, I believe we're one of the top companies in the country. But Jesus Christ, if we're not the best school, then I know we're a new school. So people will say, oh, I've been teaching wrestling 10 years and 12 years, and we've only been teaching it for 3. So you could argue the point that we're so fresh that we can't really be the best at this stage. But with the experience of our coaches, I think with my performance and that I'm pretty good at, and Grayson's in-ring ability, he's very good in the ring, like deceptively good. People don't really know how good he is until they know what they're looking for. He's very good. And Eddie's experience now, where he's been, what he's done. I mean, he's been literally around the world wrestling. I don't think it gets a lot better than that, really. Like, I think we cover all our bases quite well. I mean, again, I don't spend any time. Maybe I should, but like looking at other schools. Do you see what I mean? I don't really spend any time like wondering what they're doing or how they get on. I just know what we do, and all my time and effort goes on what we do, and we just work so hard that like I just couldn't see how anybody else kind of does what we do. Yeah, that's the truth. That's it. You know.